everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the Quick Question Podcast. My name is Gabe Ryan, alongside my co-host, Matt Shafty.
Hello.
We are excited to be back for week number 4, episode 4 of this Quick Question Podcast. Thank you guys for listening to the first 3 episodes. We really appreciate all of the feedback and all of the listens thus far. If you haven't already, check us out on YouTube and Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. We will be available to you wherever you like to listen to us.
Wherever.
Matt, how was your weekend?
It's pretty bad. Michigan State was not very admirable. The Lions gave up 48 points. They scored 45 with a bunch of injuries, but they gave up 48.
Silver lining.
Injuries really have a part to play on both sides of the ball. And you can't give up 48 points to the Seahawks. And the Pistons played yesterday. I'm excited about them, but I'll talk more about them later.
Okay. Well, glad that you had at least a little bit of a decent weekend. I know it was rough with football.
Yep.
But at least it was okay. Hey, Lions scored 45 points. When does that happen? 5 years ago?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyways.
3-0 in fantasy, though. Yeah.
Well, see, another silver lining.
That's good.
Are we ready to get into this week's topics?
Yep. Just bang, bang right away.
All right. So
All right.
Topic number 1 today, the NBA is right around the corner, along with college basketball. Matt, I know you're excited for your Detroit Pistons, but can you tell me what other teams in the NBA you are most excited for?
I'm just excited about a lot of teams. I can go by conference and talk about each. We'll start at the top with the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis is back, of course. It's not like he ever left or ever considered leaving.
No.
He just played with his brothers in Greece. Did pretty well. They lost, though. I don't know who they lost to, but they lost. And they're going to get Chris Middleton back from injury. They should be better from the perimeter this year. That they didn't lose anything that important.
Pat Connaughton, baller.
Yep. I like Grayson out. Well, not as a person, but as a player, he's pretty good.
He's okay.
He's also a jerk sometimes, but yeah. All right. Next team we'll talk about, Celtics. They made a run to the championship. They're going to be pretty good. They lost Gallinari, though. That's significant. They lost him to a pretty bad injury. Malcolm Brogdon is there, though, and they don't lose many pieces from last year's team. Robert Williams is back healthy. They're going to be good again. Just expect them to be even better in the season this year. We'll go 76ers. 76ers have Joel Embiid. They got Tyrese Maxey. They got James Harden, Tobias Harris. They're going to be really good. There's not really another way to put that. They're going to be a really good team. Miami Heat, they lost PJ Tucker, which will not pay off.
Yeah.
That'll hurt. That'll really hurt.
Especially defensively.
Jimmy Butler got rid of the toddler haircut, which I like. I know he was trying to troll us, but I think it looks a lot cleaner without that haircut.
You definitely fell for the troll.
I did.
You were very mad.
I was.
About this haircut.
Yeah. We have a roommate that's a Heat fan. That was like, what is he doing? He's like, well, I respect Jimmy Butler, so yeah, whatever. Okay,
he got under your skin.
I respect Jimmy Butler, but it wasn't the best haircut in the world. I saw him playing pickleball earlier today with Dwayne Wade. He looks pretty good. Or not pickleball. It wasn't pickleball. I think it was racquetball, where you can
hit it off the wall.
Yeah,
that's racquetball.
Something like that. I don't.
Didn't you play in a pickleball tournament last weekend?
It wasn't a pickleball tournament.
Oh,
but it was courts.
But still.
And we might play in. We're still considering. Me and another guy are considering playing in a King of the Court system where there's 14 courts. And
you should play in one of those pro tournaments. Shout out Zach.
I'm not
Day.
pro. Yeah, I'm not that good. Cleveland Cavaliers. They added Donovan Mitchell. They're going to be real good, real nice. They still got the Twin Towers down low. Yeah, they're going to be really good. They got a lot of depth. How about the Brooklyn Nets? Nets are the Nets. They got Ben Simmons. They got Kyrie Irving. They got Kevin Durant. They lost Bruce Brown, which is really going to hurt. I'm telling you right now, mark it down. It's going to hurt a lot. They don't have that much depth behind Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton, but
Now
gonna
they
have to
have
figure it out.
Kaiser Gates and Edmund Sumner.
Oh yeah.
2 former Xavier teammates reuniting.
Woo.
It's big for Xavier.
Mhm.
Big for the alumni.
I don't know if it's really big for the rotation, but it's good for Xavier.
2 good, solid role players.
Sure. The Atlanta
Thanks.
Hawks added DeJounte Murray to the plethora of guys they already have. They're going to be really good this year. Watch them out. Watch out. They could be a top 4 seed. They're going to be real good. They could make an Eastern Conference final, maybe an appearance in the finals. That'd be really cool for the Hawks. How about the Wizards? The Wizards, they added Kristaps Porzingis. They still have Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma. They'll be good. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but New York Knicks, they're going to be good. They gave Brunson a bag, which I don't know if that's the smartest move in the world, but
Boogie Brunson. That's what Gus Johnson called him. Jalen Boogie Brunson. He's good.
He is good.
Very good.
And he played well against the Pistons.
I have nightmares about him.
So I think the only teams I haven't mentioned so far are the Hornets, if I haven't mentioned them yet. The Pacers and Magic in the East. Magic, Markelle Fultz thinks they're going to be a top 5 seed. Sure, why not? You can call your shot, but you're guilty until proven innocent, Markelle.
Vanderbilt football also thinks they're going to be the Alabama of the SEC in a few short years.
Yep.
So people say things. Don't believe them.
Charlotte, they lost Miles Bridges. That hurts. That's it, basically. And then the Pacers have a very young team that is going to be very flashy, similar to the Pistons, but I'll get to them later. Now to the Western Conference. Finally, the Suns lost to an NBL team in the preseason, which I get it's preseason, but like when you have your rotation in, right? Come on, you can't lose an NBL team unless this NBL team is just historically good.
It's not good.
Nope,
not a good look. But you know what? It's October.
No time to panic. I don't know why you looked at your watch.
I was
checking the month.
I was just making sure it was October. Time's weird. Anyways,
all right,
continue.
Golden State, they're going to be Golden State. They lost Gary Payton II and Otto Porter Jr., but they're still going to be good. And Juan Toscano Anderson. Yeah. Okay. Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant, Steven Adams, big man, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks. Even though a lot of people hate Dylan Brooks, I don't. They're going to be good. No two ways about it.
I feel like the Grizzlies are out for blood this year.
I want to see Brandon Clark and a little more of Xavier Tillman in the regular season because, of course, Adams is getting up there in age. He's not old, but he's maybe getting towards the end of his prime. So we'll see what happens with that rotation. I'm very excited for them, though. The Jazz are going to be terrible. They're going to stink. They'll be horrible. They have a lot of picks, though, and young guys. So maybe they'll transition some of those young guys into good budding players in the league. The Mavericks, they got Luka. They got Christian Wood to help them out. They have depth issues, but Luka's going to contend for an MVP. So if he's at least playing well, they could make the playoffs. They could be a top 6 seed. Denver Nuggets will be really fun this year. I said they added Bruce Brown. They got Jamal Murray back. Of course, Joker's there.
He's so fun to watch.
Yep. We'll see how their young guys play, like Bones Highland, but they should be solid.
Did you see the video the other day of Jokic running routes in the practice facility? And he's like one-handed. It's like the easiest one-handed snag ever because his hands
looks like he's catching a baseball.
I mean, it does. It's crazy.
He's huge. Timberwolves got Gobert. We'll see how that works out. They're trying to do what the Cavs did, but hopefully it works out for them. Pelicans, oh my gosh, Skinny Zion. Dude, his first step was already really good, but now it's just a Hall of Fame first step. It's not even fair.
Well, as long as he keeps his weight down, like he's going to be a good player.
Yep.
That he was just a bowling ball last year, and that's why he got
bowling
hurt.
Ball that can move.
Bowling ball that can move, but if
now he's just lean and can move even better.
But if you have foot injuries,
like
weight's the worst thing that you could do to your feet.
Yep, so it is. LA Clippers, they are a dark horse contender for a championship. They get a lot of their guys back from injury. Do I really need to mention their names? I mean, Kawhi Leonard. I don't think I do because I'm guessing I know, and they should know. Spurs, Their only hope is Greg Popovich. If they want to make the playoffs, it's got to be Popovich.
Go Pop.
This team's not very good. Lakers have LeBron. He'll be LeBron. AD. He'll be AD. Russell Westbrook. We'll see what version of Westbrook, what version of Pat Beverly we get. Do they still have Kendrick Nunn? I think they do. Are they going to give minutes to Kendrick Nunn? Just saying. Sacramento Kings, they got Domantas Sabonis. They could contend for a play-in spot, but I don't really know if they're going to make any noise. Another team, speaking of making noise, I think the Trailblazers could be pretty good this year. They got Jeremy Grant. Of course, they have Damian Lillard. Anthony Simons had a great year last year. They're going to be pretty scary if they can, get a groove going. Oklahoma City, not going to be very good. Chet Holmgren is out for the year. I'm sorry. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I didn't see that
good.
one coming.
Yeah, no, of course. And then the Rockets, they're young. I think they're getting better. They're going to be fun, like the Pistons, but they're not going to be contending for a playoff spot.
Okay.
And that's it.
What about the Warriors? Did you talk about
Yeah, I talked about the Warriors.
Okay.
I said they're still the Warriors.
Yeah.
They're going to light it up from deep.
Splash Brothers, baby.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I think that's all you needed to hear. I'm not going to give you my projections just yet. That'll be coming soon. It won't be now, though. So my question for you, Gabe, is Aaron Judge just hit 62 last night.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
In Texas.
The MLB playoffs are locked in.
Yeah.
Woo!
It is exciting time for baseball. It's one of my favorite
The
times
Reds
of the
may
year.
not have 100 losses, but we'll see.
The dream is still alive.
Yep.
So we are recording this on Wednesday. And the Reds have one game left against the Chicago Cubs. They won the first two games of the series. Spencer Steer hit a walk-off double last night to keep the dream alive. We're sitting at 99 wins.
You should still fire your GM, but one more.
I'm not allowed to say that because I work for the team. And I wouldn't say that.
One more.
Anyways, I will get to them later, but the dream is still alive.
Okay.
But playoffs are set. Aaron Judge hit 62. He got the monkey off his back. Congratulations to him because that's an unbelievable accomplishment.
I should word my question better.
Okay.
Like, all I have is 2 words. What's next?
What's next? Well, I'll tell you what's next, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
So the regular season is wrapping up today and tomorrow, so Wednesday and Thursday. But the playoff picture is completely set. So I'll start with the American League. The Tampa Bay Rays are going to play the Cleveland Guardians. The Rays are the 6 seed. Guardians are the 3 seed. They somehow won the AL mid. I mean, the division wasn't that strong.
No.
So it's not, I guess, the most difficult thing to do. But at the beginning of the year, the Guardians are the youngest team in baseball, the youngest team they've ever had in their organization's history. And they somehow pull off a playoff spot. Congratulations to them. I know people from Cleveland are really excited. Tampa Bay Rays find a way to sneak in. They're a really good team. I'm pretty sure all these games are in Cleveland because they're the higher seed.
Mm-hmm.
So Cleveland's going to be rocking for playoff baseball. It was a great atmosphere when they played in the World Series and then the playoffs in 2016 against the Cubs. But that is the top of the bracket, and they will play the New York Yankees. The winner of that series will play the New York Yankees as the 2 seed in the American League.
Have fun.
And then on the bottom half of the bracket, the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays are playing in the wild card spot. Congratulations. Clap it up for the Seattle Mariners. They ended their 21-year playoff drought, the longest in North American professional sports. Cal Raleigh hit a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th.
Woo.
Unbelievable moment. I will put a video of the walk-off home run. It was an unbelievable sight. The players went crazy. The town was going ballistic.
Oh my gosh.
Just a really cool experience.
Was it the TV guy or the radio guy that had the crazy call for it?
TV guy had an unbelievable call.
Yeah.
I might even throw some of the audio about it in the video this week.
Boy, a lot of anxious folks out here at the ballpark. 3-2 to Cal. The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. The drought is over. Cal Raleigh. Wow. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now.
It's just, it gives you chills. The Seattle Reds, we have a lot of former Reds players on that team. So happy to see them get to have a little bit of the taste of the postseason. But they're going to play the Toronto Blue Jays. They have Vladdy Jr. They have Bo Bichette. They have Biggio. What's the guy's name? Teoscar Hernandez. They've got good pitching. Alex Manoah. They're going to be a very good team. Seattle's going to have to go to Toronto. And if you remember anything about the playoff atmosphere in Toronto and the Rogers Center, it is on a different level. Jose Bautista, if you've never seen this video, look it up on YouTube. Jose Bautista hitting a home run against the Rangers in the 2015 playoffs. The place is like literally shaking.
I remember that.
Toronto loves their baseball. That place is going to be fired up. I feel bad that the Mariners have to go there and play in the wild card. But new addition this year in the playoffs is the wild card series are 3 games instead of 1.
I remember SportsCenter put one thing out. I can't remember the year, but they were talking about like some of the most clutch moments in sports, and they left out the Bautista thing. And I wanted to comment so bad. I didn't, but I was going to put like cool. Jose Bautista, 2015 or 2016. I can't really remember the year, but the bat flip was amazing.
Yeah,
and the stadium was just rocking.
But for the Mariners and the Blue Jays, 2 really good fan bases. They deserve playoff spots. Really glad that they made it and clinched. And then they will play the Houston Astros, who are the 1 seed on the American League side. Astros are a really good baseball team. They've been the nemesis of the Yankees for the last 4 or 5 years. Yep. Yankees haven't gotten over the hump to get to the World Series. We'll see if that changes this year. They're riding the wave of emotion from Aaron Judge's historic run for home run number 62. But the Astros are just a really good team. Alex Bregman's still there. Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez is a monster. Right-handed pitchers, you do not want to face Yordan Alvarez because he might take you deep 1, 2, or 3 times in one game. He's done that multiple times this year. Justin Verlander's having an unbelievable year. He's getting up there in age, but it doesn't look like it. I think he's going to win the American League Cy Young. So the Astros and that playoff atmosphere in Houston is hard to play in, and we've seen that over the last 4 or 5 years. The Dodgers, the Nationals, the Braves last year. It's a tough place to play. They're beatable at home. They're beatable on the road, obviously, but it's still a tough place to play. They know what they're doing. I would like to see Dusty Baker win a World Series. He holds a special place in my heart, being the Reds manager for a while and leading them to the playoffs. But he's a good dude, and I hope that he gets a little taste of victory. But flipping over to the National League side, National League playoffs just set last night. We actually tried to record this episode earlier in the day yesterday and had some malfunctions again. But if we recorded, the playoff picture wouldn't have been completely set. But the Braves clinched last night, and I think the Phillies did as well. So on the top half of the bracket, the Phillies are the 6th seed. They're going to play the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis for the first round of the wild card. St. Louis obviously wins the division in the National League Central. Again, not a very competitive division, but they're really good. They have the old stars, Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and Adam Wainwright. Pujols is now up to home run 703, which is insane. And I think that'll be a very good series with the Phillies. We'll see if Bryce Harper can come back off an injury.
Yep.
And Kyle Schwarber has been mashing home runs. I think he's got the National League lead in the 40s somewhere. They have good pitching. Kyle Gibson, Ranger Suarez. They've got a very good team. They can make a lot of noise on offense. We'll see if their defense and their pitching can hold up. But I think that'll be an entertaining series. And they will play the Atlanta Braves, who are the 2 seed. They just clinched the division last night in Miami. The Atlanta Braves at one point were down 8 or 9 games to the Mets and rallied all the way back from June to take the division lead and win it.
I feel bad for Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank, Barstool Sports, we feel bad for you.
I'm sorry.
We know it's a city of heartbreak with the Mets, but
his teams just can't win.
The Braves and the Mets had the most entertaining regular season race. Both teams were outstanding, have really good pitching, have really good hitting. The Braves, just top to bottom, are a stupid team. They have 5 guys on their starting roster or in their starting lineup that will be there for the next 7 to 8 years, and they might close a deal with Dansby Swanson in the offseason. That would make 6 everyday starters available for the next 7 years, which hats off to the Braves front office because that's all you could ever want. They have unbelievable pitching. Max Fried is a dog. Spencer Strider's been really good in his rookie year. Mike Soroka, I think, is going to come back for the playoffs. Kyle Wright pitched. He has 20 wins this season, so they are no joke. They are going to be good. Atlanta's going to be a very tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
And moving to the bottom half of the bracket, the San Diego Padres are going to play the New York Mets in the first round of their wild card series. The New York Mets, I mean, they've had a great year, but it's been overshadowed by another great year with the Atlanta Braves. I hope they're not dragging into the playoffs. They still had a great year. They still have DeGrom and Scherzer at the top end of their rotation.
Yep.
They're going to be fine.
Yep.
They can step into any series against any team and
win
dominate.
They can win the first 2 games.
Exactly. But
like
offensively, Eduardo Escobar, Pete Alonso, Lindor,
there you go.
they've got, I can't think of his name, I don't know why, but even Jeff McNeil and Brandon Nimmo got really good role players, really good, just a really good team. Buck Showalter's in their dugout. I think they're going to be poised to make another run.
Yep.
The San Diego Padres have Juan Soto now. They have Manny Machado. They've got a pretty good rotation themselves with Yu Darvish, with Mike Clevenger. I think they're going to be a really good team. It's just going to be an entertaining side of the National League. No offense to the American League, but I think the National League teams are a little bit more complete top to bottom.
They are.
But it is a little bit more exciting, I guess, for the American League to see what these young teams can do, especially under the pressure of the playoffs. But the Mets and Padres will play the Dodgers. The winner of that will play the Dodgers, who are the 1 seed in the National League. Need I say more about the Dodgers? They're really good. They have the best record in baseball. They have all the stars: Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner. Gavin Lux is really good. Like, they have everybody. And they did lose some starting pitchers to injury, which I think is the weakest part of their team.
Yep.
Obviously, with Walker Buehler, with Dustin May out, Clayton Kershaw hasn't pitched many innings because he's been up and down with injury. We'll see if this starting rotation can take some bullets and save their bullpen. They still have a really good bullpen. But yeah, that is the playoff picture as it stands. Playoff series start Friday. Wild card starts Friday.
Coming up.
All of them, all those games are on ESPN. And it's just going to be unbelievable. So really excited for the MLB playoffs. Hope you are too.
Yeah.
And our final topic today is kind of a joint topic.
I wanted to bring up one more thing
Yes.
before we started that.
Yes.
Is I've been holding on to this for a while. I want Verlander back in Detroit so bad. When you mentioned Verlander's name, I probably shed tears and I just didn't know it.
Well, unfortunately, Matt, I don't know. The only way he would come back is if he won a little retirement parade before he retired.
I think that's it. Like, he has some interest in coming back for, his last couple seasons.
Maybe next year he has a retirement parade with Miggy.
Him and Miggy back. Woo!
Yeah.
Back together. Reunited as one. We actually have like a starting rotation that might be formidable in Detroit. If they're all healthy.
I mean, I would like to see that for you.
I would. I'd like to see that for me too.
Now, the Reds, on the other hand, don't really have any players on other teams that have been here long enough to have a retirement parade.
Yeah.
So, at least
or
you
any
have
interest in coming back.
All right. Yeah. Anyways.
Jeez.
Yeah. That was a gut punch.
I'm sorry.
You're mean. But switching to our last topic. This is going to be a joint topic between Matt and I. We want to talk about the Tua Tagovailoa situation that happened last week on Thursday Night Football. Obviously, if you've been following football, Tua Tagovailoa got sacked on a third down play. His head hit the ground and was motionless for a few seconds, had to get gurneyed off.
Yep.
Got rushed to a trauma center at UC Health Medical Center. Very scary situation for Tua, for the Dolphins, for the NFL. I am not going to point fingers necessarily, and I'm not going to speculate on what happened.
Yep.
But I think what needs to be addressed is the safety and regulations in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Because Tua, preceding the week before with the Buffalo Bills, he takes a shot, head smacks on the ground, appears to stand up and fall over, and take him to the sidelines.
Can I tell you before that?
Yes.
There's actually a picture of him doing the same little hand motion, the fencing. I don't think it was quite the same fencing, but he did do this and then get up and stumble over.
Yeah. So
I don't think that's back.
It's taken off the sideline against the Bills. It's a close game, and they put him back in the game to finish it. And then the Dolphins didn't even put him in concussion protocol for the week. Disclosed that it was a back injury, which it could have been a back injury.
I highly doubt it, but it could have been.
I mean, you get thrown to the ground, you hit your back and your head.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think
there's
you
a chance.
do a fencing for your back, though.
Exactly.
Like
But Dan Orlovsky actually said on Dan Patrick the other day that people have had the same reactions to shots in the back.
Oh, really?
So it could have been the
Okay.
back.
Oh.
It could have been in the back.
I don't know anything.
But so he's not in concussion protocol. He's cleared to play against the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. And the hit that prompted the fencing with the Bengals really wasn't that violent of a hit. It was just like a normal sack. He threw the Bengals defender threw him to the ground a little bit at the end, but it wasn't anything dirty, anything super violent. And Tua having that reaction really raised some eyebrows and some questions. It's a very hot topic around Twitter.
Yep.
But Andrew Whitworth made a very interesting point on Amazon Prime set after the game. And he said, when a player is evaluated on the sideline for concussion, which I think he was in the Bills game.
He was.
Those players can fake the test. Like they can cheat the test and somehow get put back in the game. So you wonder if you're the Dolphins, did something like that happen? Because obviously a medical professional has to clear you. There's an unbiased person that is sitting up in the press box, unbiased neurologist that's not specifically for any team and is solely supposed to look out for head injuries. And I think the NFL kind of dropped the ball on it, obviously. The doctor that evaluated Tua got fired because there was multiple errors found in his report. I don't really know who to come down on, but that raises my eyebrows.
Yep. It's a tough situation for the NFL, for Tagovailoa's family, for him. The way, I mean, even in that Bills game where he got hit and he fell over and obviously did the fencing, his head still looked a little like loose. Like he did look right. It still could be a back thing, but and again, I don't want to speculate. What needs to happen is the NFL needs to handle the situation properly,
like professionals,
very professionally. Obviously, there's an investigation with the NFLPA going on through for that Dolphins organization. They've already fired, like you said, they fired that doctor. There's a lot more that needs to happen instead of just firing one guy. I think Goodell needs to respond to this. I mean, he was at the game, right? And he still hasn't put out a statement, which I don't understand whatsoever. I think concussion protocol needs to change. These players, I don't know if they need to have scans. Those take, that would be an entire game process. They might be out for the entire game, which I'm fine with, right? If you do have a concussion, you should be out. You shouldn't be faking these tests to get back on the field, which in that case, if he did fake that test, there's no way Tua could sue the organization. There's not a chance.
No.
Because it's also on him.
Yeah.
Right?
So I wonder if there's some sort of if they take the test, if they're legally responsible, if they cheat it and something bad happens and they're not, or the medical professional isn't liable for the situation.
Yeah. If he didn't fake the test.
Because if that's not a thing, that should definitely be a thing.
If he didn't fake it and they're we need him back on the field, he should be fine. Then yeah, Tua absolutely should sue the Dolphins organization.
Mm-hmm. And I
like
think
Brian Flores just follow suit. But I mean, it's an awful situation.
I mean,
Things
if you're Mike
need to
McDaniel,
happen.
if you're the rest of the Dolphins team, that takes all the wind out of your sails.
Yep,
Like, I had a hard time even watching the rest of the game
I did.
because, I mean,
I just
you
didn't
see
watch.
that sort of injury, you see what football can do to somebody. It's a very violent game. But you get reminded that way in a very sobering way. It's really hard to watch.
Yep.
And if I know this just happened to Tua, but this could happen to other players if this is not handled right. And for the product of the NFL has been booming over the last 2 years.
Yep.
But to have head injuries and all these things that have been on the forefront of the issues in the NFL for a long time, if these are not handled properly, if they're not handled in a professional manner to keep these players safe, I know there's some things that you just can't. Some things just happen.
Yep.
Sometimes things happen. You can't really plan for injuries necessarily, but you can plan with how you're going to respond and how you're going to handle them. So maybe something doesn't change for the rest of the year because it would be really hard to implement a whole lot of protocols and rules in the middle of the season.
Right.
But in the offseason, I think there's a very, very important discussion that needs to happen about the safety and the concussion protocols inside of the NFL.
Yep. It needs to be addressed now, and changes can be made later. Right.
Exactly.
So there were two more things I want to talk about that are as a result of what's the unfortunate case of Tua. And number one, I think different organizations are impacted by this. I'll give you an example. The Lions right now have a lot of injuries. Like last week, I counted 16 guys that were out that actually play a role on the field. 16 guys. And obviously that's a lot, but I think they were being very, very cautious about it because of that situation. And coming into this week, when they have a bye next week, the Lions may sit a lot of their guys due to this. And I'm not trying to speculate. I'm not trying to say like, oh yeah, DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra are going to sit down because, they're raw. Like they're going to get hurt. I'm not like, if they're good 100%, if they're fine, ready to go, if they can take a limited snap count, cool. That's their decision to make. But I think there is more pressure from Tua's injury onto these guys. That's number one.
That is a good point.
Number two, if you're in the Dolphins organization and you say, okay, Tua was released from the hospital, he's been cleared, we did scans and he was okay. What now? Right? They haven't placed him on the IR. They've already counted them out for this week. What I think there's, again, pressure that if they play him the next week, the week prior, or the week after, they say, we didn't put him on the IR, and the NFL, social media, fans around the world could get really mad at us for playing him. So they have to be super delicate with this situation. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater, for all we know, could be playing the next 4 weeks. Or he could be playing 1 week and Tua's right back in. But there's pressure on that organization to make the call. They don't know what call to make. Maybe Tua's healthy and they're still sitting him because they have no idea how the world's going to react. So I have no idea what's going to happen. And we're going to see very soon. It's a mystery that's going to get solved very soon. Again, if Tua comes back next week and plays, a lot of people are going to be angry. Twitter's going to be very mad. Well, you saw the way he reacted to that injury. And yes, you did. But I mean, it could be like a miracle that he's healthy and fine right now. Maybe he comes out and balls out the rest of the year and shows no sign of anything.
Do you know off the top of your head how long these players have to sit out if they're proven that they have a concussion?
So protocol is a 5-step process, right? It's basically a day-by-day process. They get scanned, they get checked every day, and if they're fine after 5 days, there's no signs of the concussion hurting them, right? They used to not have this. They do have it now. So at minimum, it's a 5-day process. But if they find, okay, Tua is still affected by the concussion in a certain way, then they can sit him out. If, again, the IR is still a thing, if Tua has to be out for three weeks or longer, they can throw him on the IR, right? So if he's out for 3 or 4 weeks and then they can take him off, kind of like what Cordero Patterson's going through right now,
Okay.
where he's probably going to sit for 3 or 4 weeks and then they'll get him back on the field. They can do the same thing with Tua. What I still find interesting is they haven't put him in the IR, which is telling because it could mean, well, Tua's healthy enough to go on the field. We just have no idea how the world's going to react if we put him on the field.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a weird situation. I hope they handle it well. I hope the fans handle it well. And I hope they find a solution sooner rather than later. And I hope Tua makes the decision that is good for himself, not for the team, right? The team is obviously important. Those are your brothers. But you have to make this decision for you and your family.
Yep.
Okay? Your brother, Talia, is playing at Maryland. He beat Michigan State pretty bad. But how would he react to this if you got hurt one more time?
Yeah.
That would be horrible.
Yeah.
For your family, for your parents, for your siblings. I mean,
for
fans, for everyone. But at the same time, this is your decision. And he's got to make it in a way that he knows he's going to be safe, A, and B, he knows people will be, happy about it, right? It's his decision. The team has to clear him. And then, boom, if he's healthy, if he's 100%, he can go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't want to be one of those guys that says Tua's got to be out for the year. Because if the scans are right, then he can be back. If the scans are right, if there's nothing like false about them, there's no errors, then he can be back. With honestly, minimum next week, he could be back.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. But maybe he got extremely, extremely lucky. You just never know.
Yeah. And Judy Bautista, who's a senior national columnist for NFL.com, released an article a couple of days ago saying that changes are coming soon for NFL concussion protocol. How soon? We don't know. But she basically goes into what happened. So when Tua hit his head, he did get evaluated for a concussion. He passed the test.
Yep.
So they used the back injury as an explanation, and he passed the test in consecutive days with the unaffiliated neurologist doing those tests.
Yep.
But the last step is the team doctor has to okay Tua ready for game. So I don't know if there is some disconnect there. Tua is going to be interviewed this week about what happened. There's a chance that all the protocols as they are in place right now were followed perfectly. But still, even with that, it's really hard to not say something went wrong. But some of this could be avoided a little bit.
Right.
Because like what happened to Ryan Shazier or David Pollock, where they get hit or they're hitting somebody and something just horrific happens on the field. That is one thing. But if it's consecutive hits, if it's more than one hit, I feel like there's something there. But until we know further information, we won't talk about more of it because, again, we don't want to speculate on it. But if the Dolphins are guilty of such things, I think we have every right to come down on them for threatening player safety, threatening maybe even the life of Tua.
Yeah.
Because it could have gone that far, especially if the first concussion wasn't treated properly. But anyways, do you want to get to How Deep Is Your Love?
Yes, I do. I can't remember. I think it was like a Comedy Central video. Oh man, where there's this goalie out there, and there's like
Scott Sterling.
It better not be a Scott Sterling situation where he keeps getting hit in the head, in the face,
Scott Sterling.
If they do that and they just put Tua back out there, and he's like, oh, that might be an issue. But
obviously, we want crisis avoided there. Scott Sterling. I haven't seen that in forever. Scott Sterling. What a menace.
They put him in a chair. He's just like,
a good video. All right. Well, let's switch topics to How Deep Is Your Love?
Okay.
So welcome.
You're welcome.
to How Deep Is Your Love, a segment where Matt and I like to talk about our favorite teams. He is a Detroit sports fan. I am a Cincinnati sports fan. We root for teams that are not good, and it takes a lot of love and patience to root for them.
Yep.
So, Matt, you have the floor. Who are you going to talk about this week?
Okay, so this week is Pistons week.
Ooh.
Woo. Season's just coming around the corner, and I'm very excited. I think this team's going to be really flashy. I don't want to give predictions because I just don't know. I have no expectations going in. Last year, they were an above average defensive team. I only see that going up with the acquisition of Nerlens Noel and Jalen Duren. Let's see, Jaden Ivey had a really good steal in his preseason game. Just ripped RJ Barrett, which was awesome. I'd love to see that. Yeah, good for him. He had a really good outing. 16 points for a rookie in his first game. Man, he looked good. I mean, he's a good stole show for the Pistons. Yeah. Killian Hayes looking aggressive, and I love it. And he's finishing with contact at the rim. Not just he's finishing 30% of the time. No, he's finishing. This dude is finishing well. And he's drawing fouls. He's getting to the free throw line, which is one thing the Pistons really struggled with last year. He's looking a lot better, and I think I really want to believe he can be this team's Vinnie Johnson, the microwave off the bench. I really want to believe that. That's what they call him, the microwave, Vinnie Johnson. Come on.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, bad boys. So that'd be great if he could do that. He's shooting better. He's formed a mid-range and three-point shot game. He's shooting off the dribble and stuff. I'm really excited for Killian Hayes. I'm in love with the guy. I was really high on him out of the draft, and he just has been injured. He had the COVID year.
Are you announcing your relationship soon?
No.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have Cade Cunningham.
Different type of love.
Cade gained a lot of muscle. Apparently, I think it was Dwayne Casey who came out and said this. He saw Cade for the first time since last season on the court, and he didn't even recognize him. He was like, "Who is that?" And Cade walked up to him. He's like, "What's up, coach?" And it was Cade. He gained 20 pounds of muscle in the offseason. And you think NBA offseason is just not that large. It's not that long. It's so good for him. 20 pounds of muscle is a lot.
That's a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
I could use it.
We both could.
We both could.
Everybody could.
Yeah.
Most people could. So I'm very excited for Cade. He's, instead of just, keeping it at a 3-point shot or mid-range and driving sometimes, he's backing defenders down now. Apparently, he's getting into the low post. They're passing it to him against smaller defenders, and he's just backing them down, which is weird for a point guard to do that. But I'm not against it. It's old school. I like it.
I mean, he's a big guard.
He's big.
Jalen Brunson did this his entire college career. Yep. And he still does it in the NBA sometimes. He's been a little bit, he spaces the floor a lot more in the NBA now. But he used to just back down every single point guard. And then he'd either flip a ball over his shoulder and it was a no-look pass and it would be a dunk. Or he'd do some crazy spin move. He'd do his little fade away. It was so infuriating because it was so effective. Because if he backs people down, he opens up everybody on the court. So if Cade Cunningham's doing that plus 5-6 inches.
Yep.
That can be dangerous.
And speaking of spacing the floor, opening up the court, I think it's Bojan Bogdanovic. Bojan. I think it's Bojan.
Bojan
Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to go with that.
Okay. Bogdanovic, he's definitely a stretch 4. He can step it out and shoot. He can't, I know he's not really a driving 4. He's not that guy who's a low post, but man can shoot. And when you have him, he spaces the floor.
Detroit's
it draws
finest.
Defenders out. I'm so excited for him. I'm excited for all these guys. We're going to be a better shooting team, which is very important. But the most important, obviously, offense is important. Defense, we're getting better offensively. I think we're getting better. What's important is consistency. This team was so wildly inconsistent last year on both ends of the floor. They got to build that up, but especially with the fouls. My goodness, they fouled so many guys, and they would lose games because of the free throw margin. We couldn't get to the line, and we would force other teams to get to the line. I don't know why. Teams were getting to the bonus in the first quarter, which is sad. Right?
That is very sad.
Not even a quarter of basketball, and these teams are in the bonus. they're just shooting free throws. They get 2 free throws every time they're fouled. It's like, come
Are you sure
on.
they were playing basketball or were they playing football?
I think it was a mix of both. I could have guessed Dan Campbell's on the sideline. Hey, man, go get him, man. Go tackle him, man. You got this. Like, that's one thing he did preach in Lions offseason. Tackle, tackle, tackle. So maybe the Pistons just followed suit. And just like, yeah, we're going to go tackle LeBron. Like,
I mean, that's what the bad boys did. And
yeah, and they didn't get called for fouls, but now it's this new era of basketball where it's like, yeah, if you touch a guy, if I go like, boom, it's a foul. Like, that's flagrant.
Well,
like,
it's a lot more civil than it used to be.
Yeah.
You got away with murder.
Mm-hmm. I remember there was one in the preseason game where Jalen Brunson like ran into the chest of Cade, and Cade just kind of puts his hands up, didn't even move because he's a stone wall. Like he gets backed up a little bit,
stone wall.
And then Brunson like I don't know, he kind of falls back a bit, but like he keeps his dribble, and they call that a foul. Like that's just straight up defense. He didn't step into him. He didn't sidestep into him. He just stood there, and they call that a foul. Like, come on. And Dwayne Casey lost his mind. Like, the ref was getting pretty mad. But I don't know. They got to clean up their game. The refs do. Clean up your act, man. They call a fair game. We want.
You heard it from the best in the biz.
So, of course, the young guys. Jaden Ivey looks great. Jalen Duren, I think, is going to be pretty good. But we have to have Alec Burks back from injury. He's another guy who can light it up from deep. We got to have Nerlens Noel back from injury. So Isaiah Stewart, he's been spreading out a shot a bit. If Isaiah Stewart can not only bag people down low and have that huge wingspan, if he can shoot threes, we're going to really space this court out. And this team could be a lot of fun because you could see a driving Cade with a one-on-one on him instead of guys collapsing because the Pistons just don't move and they don't trust other guys to make threes. You can have Cunningham drive. You can have Ivy drive and throw it down on somebody. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hami Diallo, love him. He's a great player, and he's athletic as hell. So it's going to be really fun. I think this team's going to be throwing lobs. They're going to be dunking a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a top 3 team in dunks in this season. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Will they make the playoffs? Probably not. Probably not.
Jinx.
There is a way there. I won't count this team out because I think they're super similar to the Grizzlies in a way, right? From the year that Xavier Tillman hit the 3 against the Warriors to make the playoffs. They're similar to that team. They're going to be, if they make the playoffs, it's going to be a play-in spot to get to the playoffs. But again, I'm excited. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be flashy, and I think they'll exceed the expectations of what people have set for them this season.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to talk about 2 teams today. The Reds are finishing up their 2022 season today, sitting at 99 losses, as I referenced before. If by some absolute miracle they win today,
only 1 game.
They don't lose 100 games. If you told me when they started 3-22 that they weren't going to lose 100 games, I would have laughed in your face. This might be the biggest win for Reds baseball in a long time.
If they
rallied. I mean, if they win, which is they're playing the Cubs. So at least we're not playing like the Giants
and
or the
Reds
Braves
or 14-1.
Well, they did get swept by the Cubs this past weekend. So anything could happen. But if they didn't lose 100 games, hats off to David Bell, because they've gone through 65 different players this year. 7 catchers. 7 different catchers. Their bullpen is awful. And they don't lose 100 games. You know what? I mean, if you're David Bell, you did the best you could.
Yeah.
You just threw out whoever you think could maybe one day get a hit, one day get a strikeout, one day get a ground ball out. You know, I'm proud of them for how they finished. They did fight this entire year. Whoever of the 65 was out there, they did fight. Now, I think they have some good young talent. Hunter Green looked really good the other night. Graham Ashcraft is going today. They've got some good young talent in their starting rotation on the field. I think they could be good in 2024. That's kind of the window I'm foreseeing. Now, next year, they could be a little bit ahead of schedule if Ellie De La Cruz, some of these other prospects come up and they could kind of have what the Mariners had last season, where they got really close, got hot at the end, got close to getting to the playoffs, or like the Orioles. They exceeded expectations. They would have won the AL Central if they were in the AL Central.
Yeah. Who
because
would?
they were 5 games over 500. I think they have enough prospect capital. They definitely have enough talent in their organization to make some noise. It's just, when are they going to call these people up? And when are they going to move on from some of the people that are not so good, that just take up cap space? So I hate to see baseball end, especially for my team, because I love it. It's my favorite sport. But I think if they end on a high note, a little momentum going into the offseason. Very small amount of momentum, but it's still momentum. And then the Cincinnati Bengals moved to 2-2. Got a huge win against the Dolphins. Obviously, the Tua situation, they weren't playing the full strength Dolphins. Dolphins had a couple other players out as well. DJ Reader wasn't playing for the Bengals. Defense looked really good in that game. They kept a very explosive Miami Dolphins offense to only 20 points. And Tyreek Hill had a lot of yards, a lot of really big plays, but he didn't have any touchdowns. I think the secondary and the linebackers, the line, they're coming together. They're going to be a really good defense, a really solid defense. I am a little bit concerned about the offense. With as much talent as they have on their offense, they should be able to put up more than 14 points through 3 quarters. Dolphins defense is okay. It's not great. And I think when they get into the meat part of their schedule, they have the Ravens on Sunday Night Football this week. It's going to get a lot more difficult. You're going to have to make some plays if you're the offense. You're going to have to come out and explode. Joe Mixon, they haven't established a run game. He's going for a yard, just straight up the middle and getting tackled. And 4th and 1, instead of just having confidence to run block and run straight up the middle, they pitch it to the outside, the short side of the field, and they get stopped. Every time. And you can't be a one-dimensional offense and expect to make it to the playoffs and expect to make it to the Super Bowl. Burrow said the pass protection last week was excellent, which it was. He had a ton of time to throw. Probably the best pocket he's gotten to throw in his entire Bengals career. I mean, not much competition. But T. Higgins was getting involved. Tyler Boyd made some plays, and Jamar Chase made some plays down the stretch. But I think you still have to get those guys more involved, especially Chase. He's such a spark plug on the offense. If he gets going, Joe Mixon's going to get going. They just have to find some creative ways to do it. I think their play calling has been a little bit stubborn, and they haven't been changing most of what they're doing. I think they need to take some shots to the middle of the field. They need to obviously feed Mixon and get him going because he spreads out the defense. But I am excited for them. They play the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Should be a good matchup. Lamar Jackson is playing as good as anybody in the NFL right now. The Ravens, I think, want some revenge from what happened last year. They got smoked at home by the Bengals, and then Joe Burrow threw for 525 yards on them the second time around and let them know about it. So we'll see what the response is, but really excited to see what the Bengals can do. Maybe rally the season around, get hot for a little bit, maybe find their way into the playoffs again. But white out, white Bengal, unbelievable. Record crowd at Paycor Stadium. Looked like an unbelievable atmosphere. Kind of looked like the Penn State whiteout game, kind of like a smaller version of it. But Tyreek Hill even said, like, it was so loud, like they couldn't hear play calls. Dolphins had to burn 2 timeouts in the first quarter.
You don't see that in the NFL.
No, and that doesn't normally happen. Tyreek Hill said something to the effect of, like, it's the jungle, baby. And you know what? That feels good. For a team that's been as abysmal as they have been in past years, it's cool to see what good football, what good teams can do to the city.
All right. Here we go.
Couple rapid fire?
Rapid fire.
All right.
Just a couple.
Rapid fire.
So, we talked a little bit yesterday about what sport you'd want to get into next a little bit. We talked about it last night. So now I have a question for you is what sport would you want to get into next? If you could be a fan of a new sport, what would it be?
Hockey.
Yay!
I'm just gonna say
Woo.
hockey. All right.
Yay.
What about you?
I would be Formula One. I know some guys like Max Verstappen. I follow him a little bit, but like, I'm not a huge fan. I would love to be a fan of Formula One.
Nice.
Okay, so, if you could get rid of any animal in the world, what would it be?
Any animal?
Just one.
Mice.
Mice.
Like what? What do they do?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'd get rid of ticks. Like they just
that's a good
spread,
one. Yeah.
disease, and they just bite people and take their blood, and they get like from really small to like respectively big because they just take a bunch of blood. So it's like, yeah, props to you, but like don't take my blood. All right, so now we're gonna get into some predictions. NFL and college football again. So the Giants are 3-1. How?
I don't know.
So the Giants,
Go Giants.
are gonna have a match against the Packers
A match?
at 9:30 a.m. A match in Europe, in London.
That makes a lot more sense. It's like, what are you talking about?
You got
That's the other football.
your British game.
British.
Yeah,
was
we're both not
terrible.
very good at it. Packers or Giants? Who you got?
Packers.
Are
you gonna say the
I really
Giants?
want to say Giants. I'm gonna do it. I'm saying Giants. I think
Okay.
Saquon Barkley runs all over that defense. We're going Giants beating the Packers. Because why not? Okay. So next game. Who shall we do next? Let's do a little bit of. How about Cardinals at home against the undefeated Eagles?
Ooh, Eagles are really hot.
Yeah,
They've got a lot of offensive weapons. I can't bet against the Eagles right now.
I agree. Like
They haven't given me a reason to not want.
I really want to, but I gotta go Eagles. Like there's respect there for that team. They're pretty good. Okay, into college football. We have an undefeated Kansas Jayhawks team. Red alert. They're at home playing against TCU, two ranked teams out of the
Ooh.
Big 12.
That's an interesting game. At home.
Mhm.
I want to say Kansas. You know what? I'm going to say Kansas. I think the magic is real. I believe in the magic.
I really want Kansas to win. I really do. This TCU team looks impressive.
Yeah.
They just beat Oklahoma bad. And,
We'll see what happens.
I really want to say Kansas.
I believe in the magic.
Kansas is an underrated defense. Underrated. And it's in the Big 12. Underrated defense, especially for a Big 12 team.
Yep.
Kobe Bryant, corner for them, had one spectacular interception.
Really good move on the ball.
Yeah. This
Play on the
isn't
ball.
Kobe from Cincinnati.
No.
Like UC. He's now playing for the Seahawks. This isn't Kobe, basketball player. This is Kobe, Cobee.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe.
And I think TCU is going to win, but I really want Kansas to win. I really do. So I'm going to be rooting for Kansas, but I think it's going to be TCU,
right.
unfortunately. Okay.
Last one.
Big game in the Pac-12. UCLA, undefeated, 5-0, just beat a good Washington team. Good offense for Washington. Not the best defense in the world, though.
Beach State.
Yeah, they did. Against Utah. Utah,
Ooh,
they're good. They're a solid team.
I like UCLA.
UCLA. Okay, this is a tough one for me because Dorian Thompson-Robinson, their quarterback, has played really well, and he's got to continue to play well, especially against this Utah defense. I'm gonna go UCLA. I think.
Okay.
I think they get it done at home against a very good opponent. This is just gonna solidify UCLA. They have a chance here. Like I don't want to say playoff yet, but they got a chance here. They've looked very impressive going into this game. If they win this game, that's a huge momentum setter.
Yeah.
Really exciting time to be a UCLA fan. And then basketball coming around the corner, and they're going to be pretty good in that too. So,
All right. Is that the last one?
that is all of it.
Okay. Because I got to get it. I got to get to class soon.
Okay.
And the lights are due in 10 minutes. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in this week for episode number 4 of the Quick Question Podcast. Please share this with your friends, your family, whoever you think would like or would enjoy this type of content, this type of conversation. Again, thank you for joining us, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. My name is Gabe Ryan.
And I'm Matt Shafty.
We will see you next week.
Thank you very much for coming out this evening. Thank you. You're far too kind. Hold your applause. This is your song, not mine. Thank you. Please hold your applause. For I just